You're watching the Denis Times Tribune Illustrated, where we read the news for you. Our top story for today: train robbed. A private train owned by the railroad sugar and oil magnate Elizabeth-Colm was robbed in broad daylight by masked outlaws. Headed north toward the Grizzlies, the outlaws boarded and stopped the train shortly after it had departed from West Elizabeth. Initial cables sent as of printing time indicate the bloody takeover occurred in order to steal railroad bonds from the personal car of Mr. Cornwall. Shortly after the robbery, the train was set in motion without a driver or crew, barreling dangerously through the area at a high rate of speed. The train was eventually brought to a stop by engineers and lawmen north of Annesburg, who reported a scene of violent struggle and bloody carnage on board. Some engineers and guards from the train survived the slaughter, but were too startled to report much information of value to authorities. In other news, man mauled by massive alligator, Lagras-Man Mauled. The Cajun or Acadian Frenchmen of the area around Lagras would rather hunt alligators than work in the cane fields, with the latter being autonomous and the former a lot more pleasurable, at least usually. However, a very real element of danger is involved, as the Lagras-Man found out when tying his boat up to a riverbank. Having successfully killed 3 alligators, he no doubt was thinking of the price their leather would fetch at the market. But he did not notice until it was too late a 15-foot specimen in the underbrush, which shot out and mauled the man nearly beyond recognition. In other news, Blackwater locked down after a bloody shootout that resulted in the seizure of a large quantity of banknotes being shipped by boat. Pinkerton agency officials have restricted access to the town of Blackwater while a massive manhunt is underway. Officials issued bounties on the heads of Dutch van der Linde and his gang, commonly known as Dutch's Boys. Banks look to shipping assets via boat as a more reliable means of transportation, impervious from thieves. The deadly attack resulted in the loss of $150,000, the largest robbery in the region in recent years. Authorities believe that the men may have stashed the money in Blackwater before fleeing. Reports indicate that many are searching high and low for the stash, upending public spaces and neighbors' gardens. Residents of Blackwater view the lockdown with contempt. Businesses who depend on shipments of dry goods, sundries, and catalog sales complain that Pinkertons have caused an unnecessary burden of life and welfare. And now for weather. Blizzard aftermath in Grizzlies. Snowmelt worries those in flood-prone area. A series of late spring snowstorms rendered the Grizzlies impassable in May, catching many unprepared, having used most of their winter provisions. The snow, often measured in feet in many areas, is unusual this late in the season. Reports from riders who have recently encountered the area say that respite is finally in sight. The snowmelt is coming quickly with a seasonable warmth, which worries many that rivers downstream will swell and burst their banks, as happened in the late spring snowstorms of '83. Planting season is also reportedly delayed as many areas are too muddy for work animals to work a plow. And that wraps up our top stories for today. As always, be sure to thank our sponsors, and of course consider subscribing to the Denis Times Tribune today, where you can get the latest in Red Dead 2 news. Thank you for watching.